All right. Okay, we'll begin. So welcome. Welcome again, everybody. A reminder that our good etiquette is if you're not the one speaking, we put ourselves on mute just to respect the person who's speaking and to kind of minimize any of the background noise that we could have. Just to say, I know that some people said maybe little minions will join and things. If you need to switch off your camera to say goodnight to your son or your daughter, or somebody's coming in and asking a question and you need to shut off your camera for a second, please feel free to do that. But we do want to see people as much as possible on this because it helps us create community by seeing your smiling face. So, so just those things, just a reminder of the muting ourselves. And again, Mary Hicken will be your tech support. So just send a chat message if you're having any issues. And Kate will be your person to send a question to if you have a question. So we're going to just also to be aware that we are recording each of these sessions. Just to know for training purposes, we're recording them and we have them for content for other people to view on our website. If they weren't able to make the virtual session, they'll be able to go and view it on their own. You might want to go and view it again too, just for a refresher. Every session will be recorded, but that doesn't mean every session will end up on the website. So we'll take the best and put the content of the best of the session on the website. So if we flubbed up really big, we can hide that one so that we have a saving grace. That's why we do too. And as I said last night, you know, you have the benefit of us already doing it in the morning. And so we tweaked a few things again for tonight. So you'll get the better presentation. I shouldn't say better. You will get the freshest content. Let's say that. So again, why are we here? Just as I said last night, or I said this morning, is that we know that the human touch of ministry is very important. And during this time of pandemic, it's probably even more important. And so we believe strongly that we can create that human touch of ministry even in a virtual world by creating these virtual workshops that you'll be able to learn some tools and techniques to use with your parishioners and your students. So just it's a way that we can create that human touch of ministry, even though we're separated by miles, separated by blocks, whatever that may be, we can create that human touch of ministry. Another thing is we know our people are our greatest asset. You're our greatest asset as leaders. The parishioners are our greatest asset. And so we want to invest in our people in our diocese. And we know that when we are feeding the people of our diocese becomes much richer and much more geared to the relationship with Christ, which is what we want. And then last, we really want to build community. So we're all about trying to build community across our diocese. So even though we can't be with you in person, we are with you building community as best we can in this virtual world, and you're building community the best that you can in the virtual world with the people that you'll be doing class with, doing Bible study with, whatever that may be. So, so that's why we are doing this, and that's why we're here. Thank you for investing in us as we invest back into you. And we will begin as we begin all things in prayer. So I'll just give you a couple seconds to center yourself and to bring yourself fully here, taking a few deep breaths and just knowing that we are in the presence of God. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Loving God, creator of all things, you call us to be in relationship with you and others. Thank you for calling us to be evangelizers, for the opportunity to share with others what you have given to each one of us. May all those with whom we share the gift of faith discover how you are present in all things. May they come to know you, the one true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent. May the grace of the Holy Spirit guide our hearts and lips, so that we may remain constant in loving and praising you. May we be witnesses to the gospel and ministers of your truth. May all our words and actions reflect your love. And we ask all these things in your most precious name. Amen. So one of the things that I forgot to do as you were arriving is launch our fun poll. So I'm launching it now. So I'm hoping can everybody see that poll? And as you take it, the results will be going in. And as you're doing it, I'm going to kick it over to my colleague, Jesse.
Thanks, Deacon Steve. So this is a happy space for the multitaskers. We welcome you to finish that poll, and Steve will take it down in just a moment. For those of you who were here last night, this is a tiny bit of a refresher, but I promise within 4 minutes you'll be receiving new content. I'm Jessie Hubert, Peer Support in the Faith Formation Office. We're so glad you're here. I want to welcome you on wherever you're at in the spectrum of comfort or discomfort with Zoom and social media and digital ministry. Our goals tonight, we really want to be rooted in that, so you know what you're leaving with. We want to be good stewards of your time. The first is, this is not just teaching you how to use Zoom. This is how we do modern day evangelization. This is a new vernacular that people are speaking, and if we can become fluent in this vernacular, we're able to reach folks, especially knowing that young people or working professionals and white-collar jobs and some blue-collar jobs too are using this stuff all the time in their work. Our people are fluent in this, and people who aren't engaged in the church are fluent in it. So our willingness to be humble and to work through our comfort and discomfort zones to get more adept at it is part of how we prepare ourselves to evangelize and meet people where they're at. So wherever your comfort zone is and your confidence level, we hope to grow those tonight. So wherever you're at, you'll leave with something new. We want to equip you with practical tools too. We're going to actually give you the chance to try using different techniques. You can get your jitters out and get more comfortable doing things so that you can implement some of this stuff as early as this fall if you'd like. We're also going to talk about Zoom, Google Meet, and social media, especially live platforms on social media. So you'll be learning about 3 distinct ways that you can be reaching your parish and be able to discern what your folks need. The last piece is, any person can kind of log in and fumble their way through a Zoom meeting or a social media live, and that's good, and there's a lot of grace in that. But our hope is to equip you to do high quality, high impact ministry over these digital platforms so that we can really be confident that we're reaching people, again, who are fluent in this language, as well as, talking about the ethics of this, because child protection doesn't go anywhere just because we're online. If anything, it's just as prevalent. So before I click to the next slide, you can enjoy these poll results and you all can see those. It looks like sitting on the porch and listening to the rain is the clear front runner. That's fun. We had somebody this morning who did avoid the rain at all costs, but none of those in this group. So wonderful. Thank you all for participating in that. Getting a little bit more immediate in our evening. Here is our agenda for the night. I'm not going to dwell on this, but just so you know and that you can feel cared for, that we're going to monitor the clock. We're going to be good stewards of your time. So like I said, Zoom, Google Meet, social media, child protection, and then our grand finale is breakout room time, as well as teaching how to do breakout rooms, which is always a lot of fun. So there will be time built in for you to be interactive and sharing feedback. Deacon Steve was kind enough to remind us that Kate and Mary are here for all of your support tonight. You can use the chat feature. I like to call this, if we were in person, this is the point where we would say, if you need to use the restroom, here are the men's and women's restrooms. And so this is the Zoom equivalent of where are the restrooms, some of that housekeeping and hospitality. And just a couple of etiquette pieces. And so for those who were here last night, this is a refresher. If you're comfortable in this world, some of this feels like it might need to go without saying. But the reality is, for people who are new to online formats, they haven't really learned those unwritten rules, those cultural norms of etiquette. So it's really good for us to learn those and to practice those. The same way that if we were meeting in person, we wouldn't remind people to make eye contact with the presenter or shut off your cell phone. People just know how to do that. And eventually we're just going to know how to do that over Zoom. If you've been using this, especially over the past 6 months, you probably know those things. But we want to call it out and welcome those folks for whom this is new. So Deacon Steve reminded us to mute unless you're speaking. Not just polite, it's practical because you can get feedback and microphone screeching. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Whenever we see your smiling face, we have to smile ourselves because we love you. So we're grateful for your graciousness and your willingness to have your video It's part of how we do our key work in ministry of building community. If you don't have a video capability, that's okay. We still welcome you just as you are. I deliberately chose an uncomfortable picture of myself so that you could be reminded that video means we can see you. We can see all of you. We can see what's behind you. You're going to see my 4-year-old come in and say goodnight. So it's good to be mindful of that as well. We want to encourage you tonight. We want to make this a norm of how we do what we do in faith formation, to use the reactions feature. So at the bottom of your screen, there's a reactions feature, and thank you, Deacon Steve. Hi, Ben. And if you click that, you have the opportunity to give a thumbs up or an applause. When you're presenting something in person, it's easy to get the vibe of the room and feel out how people are connecting or not connecting. Those nonverbals are a little harder to pick up on in Zoom. So this feature is really great because it's a concrete way of being able to pick up on those nonverbals. So we appreciate you engaging with those. And last but not least, please multitask mindfully. Folks who are comfortable multitasking like me, Zoom is like my heaven. You know, I can be and sincerely paying attention, and I'm watching and I'm listening and I'm typing a chat to somebody and I'm using my reactions and I'm clapping for people all at once. And those are good. Zoom is designed to be maximized by being able to multitask. Also knowing that that's not everybody's comfort zone. And the flip side is that, hi buddy, can you just wait a second for me? Okay, sounds good. He's getting card supplies. So it's important to remember that to some people, multitasking can look disrespectful if you're not used to it in Zoom. So if I'm chatting with somebody or, you know, working on something on my computer, it might look like I'm being disrespectful when I'm actually, you know, engaging in the program. However, we all have known people or been people ourselves that were, you know, I'm responding to my mom's text message, or, you know, I'm checking that email that just came in. So we encourage you to really practice good etiquette and be present here, so that we can assume that if it looks like somebody is multitasking, we'll assume that they're multitasking mindfully in the context of the program. So I'm going to pause this really quickly so that I can see all of you lovely faces again. If you learned something new in that content that was like, oh, that was a new way of thinking of it, use your reaction key and give me a thumbs up. If that was a good refresher and you knew all of that already, give me the applause. Jillian, of course, you know everything. Folks who were here last night, good, applause. A lot of folks. Okay, thank you so much. So I'm going to turn it over now to Deacon Steve, and he's going to talk to us about some of those more advanced features in Zoom. And we have some more interactive things for you coming right up.
Thanks, Jesse. You were able to experience what I'm going to talk about a little bit later than I had intended. So when the intention was that the poll would be up as you come in, and that you were able to pay attention to that as you were settling into the meeting. But polling is one of those tools that is a really great way to gauge where people are in your room. It's also a fun way to connect with people. So you can do really fun polls. You can do very serious polls in terms of, this is the content that I'm going to be teaching tonight, and I want to gauge where my people are at the beginning and then at the end. But it's just, polling is a great opportunity to gauge that information that your audience is interested in, and their level of expertise, and their current understanding or opinions of the content that you are going to share. So polling is just one of those fun tools. I find it fun. I create kind of crazy polls for the team every morning, not every morning, but just about every morning. Like one of them was, you know, what was your go-to for during the COVID? What was your go-to drink? Or what do you miss about things that you did before COVID? Things like that. So it's just a fun way that we can gauge where people are and what they're feeling. This morning I put, how tired are you today? From so blurry, my head is foggy, my face is here, but my brain is absent, that type of thing. Just because we were up late, a little bit later than usual last night. So just kind of gauging where people were this morning. So polling is that just the ability to gain some of that information in a very quick and easy way. So Jesse's going to put up some slides now so that you will be able to see kind of what we're talking about. And just a couple things before we dive into how to set up a poll. first, the host is the person who has the ability to create a poll. So if you're the host, you will see at the bottom of your screen the opportunity for polling. And it's this little icon at the bottom of your screen right next to the chat feature. If you look at yours right now, you probably won't see it because you are not the host or the co-host. So those who have the hosting abilities will have the option, the tool for polls. So if you're kind of panicking, I don't see it, you won't see it until you're the host. So again, how do you set up a poll? You go to the place that we talked about last night, your scheduled meetings. So on your, as you're signing up for scheduling a meeting, at the bottom of that first page, you'll get to the place where creating a poll will be listed, and you'll go to the where it says add. You want to click on the add button, and then the next screen will pop up. And in that screen, you have the title of the poll. So the title of the poll that you just took was Fun Poll. So that was the one for the rain. So you title it, and then you add your question, and then you type in whatever question. What do you want to gain? It could be, you know, who knows the names of the 4 Gospels, or whatever. You can type in things like that you want to know. You just need to have the option for 10 responses. You also have the option for either a single answer, or multiple choice. So you choose that. After you're done creating it, you go to the bottom and you hit save. Then, when you're ready to launch the poll, you go to the icon at the bottom of your screen that says polls, and you're going to go to the one that you created. So this one, the example that you see says Fun Poll. But what if you created other ones? You would use this little down arrow, and all the polls that you have created as the host and have saved will be there. So you'll pick the one that you want to launch. So in our meeting tonight, we have 3, as a matter of fact. We have a fun poll, we have a pre-assessment, we have a post-assessment. So I have to make sure that I'm going to pick the correct one. So after you click the correct poll by the title, you want to click launch, and then you're going to launch the poll. And as you saw, as you were just doing it, you have the ability to see who is taking, you don't see the person who's taking the poll, you see the number of respondents. So if you know that you have 10 people in your meeting, you look to see how many have responded. You could give little nudges if you'd like, oh, we still have 4 more to go, or whatever that may be, in a gentle way. We don't ever want to bully somebody into taking a poll. And then after you know that either the time has elapsed that you wanted to give them, so if you wanted to give them 3 minutes and that 3 minutes is over, or everybody has taken it, you then hit end polling, and then you're going to share the results. Now, next, and then everybody will see the shared results, and you'll see who answered what. You will not see who responded in such a way. You can see that when you print out a report after you save this poll and go back later to get the stats. You could see who answered what, so you would know what student answered what way that way. But on the showing it to everybody, you won't see who answered what, so nobody would be embarrassed. The other option that was on there after was relaunch. If you relaunch a poll, all of the information that was gathered when you first launched it will be gone. It's basically starting all over. So you have the ability to relaunch, but it clears out all of the information prior and starts again like it's a brand new opportunity. So that's fast and easy for polling. Is there any quick questions on polling? Fun tool. You can have lots of fun with it. Be really creative. We will be sending out, as Kate posted, the written directions too for the things that we're talking about tonight. So the next option.
Steve, do they get to do another poll?
Oh, Jesse, I'm so glad you asked me because I would have forgot to do it again. So you now have the opportunity to take another poll. So hold on, because it's not the fun poll, it's the pre-assessment poll. So this gives us the opportunity to gauge your knowledge and your comfortability with what we're doing. So if you want to go ahead and answer those questions, and then I'll share the results when you're done. So I know how many people are here, so I know when you've all taken it. Thanks for the reminder, Jesse. See how we
This is like the
another.
no stress pre-assessment. This is like what you can learn today, not what we expect from you right now.
Yes.
And you can select as many things as are true.
And this is a good way to gauge where your class is. Like when you're starting at the beginning of the year, you wanted to do, like, you know, that's what a lot of teachers do in terms of gauging how the students have learned through the semester, do a pre-assessment and a post-assessment. So very easy way to do it, and you can make it fun. Which teacher gave the best snacks, you know, questions like that.
No snacks this year, Steve.
Oh, man, that's a killer.
Yeah.
We're almost there. All right, 90% of you voted. So here's the results. So as you can see, 78% have a basic understanding of child protection regulations regarding video meetings, and if you have questions, you know where to go to. So 78% of you are comfortable with that. And I won't say the lowest one. I know how to share in Google Meet is probably the lowest one. I would score myself 0 on that one because I don't know it either. Mary knows. All right. So we'll stop sharing results. And now we're going to talk a little bit about sharing screen. So at the bottom of your screen, you see a green icon that says share screen. There it is right there. And so this is how you're able to share screens with the participants in your meeting, and you're able to share the screen, and you can pick when you share the screen what you want people to see. So this, if you can see where there's the whiteboard, there's an iPhone, iPad, so this was, I can say who it is, but I won't. This was somebody's, what they had open when they were sharing your screen. So it's a good reminder to say, if you have applications running in the background, if you have a document opened, if you have a YouTube video that was open that you were watching before or listening before, if you have your email address or your email folder open, all those things can be seen when you share your screen. So what you don't want to see, you want to close out of. But reminder, if you want to share something, to make sure that that's left open. Two very important things that you want to make sure when you first click on share your screen is right around this red circle, you see share computer sound and optimize screen sharing for video clips. The share computer sound is if you're going to share a song or something with verbal, people will not be able to hear it unless you click that little box. And then the other one is to optimize the screen for a video clip that you want to show. So those two things you want to click after you click your green share screen. And then you want to slide over to the right and you're going to click share. And then after you click share, you'll go to whatever you want to do, whether it be the whiteboard, whether it be a video you want to share, that's what the screen that will come up, because that's what you've clicked. When you want to stop sharing, you go to the top and you see the stop share, and you click on that and you go back to the gallery view or whatever view you had selected. So that's the basics for sharing screen. We also want to do a little fun activity with you to show you how that you could participate in a meeting by helping to annotate a document, or if somebody's taking minutes at a meeting. So we're going to give you the opportunity to play around with that, and Jessie's going to share her screen and give you the opportunity to put some stickers or stamps or lines on the document that Jessie's creating.
So the faith formation folks know I get very nerdy. I love being the note taker during our meetings when we're visioning or talking about something. And you know how it is when you're physically in a room, if there's a whiteboard or a chalkboard, there's somebody who likes to do the mind mapping of everything. But when we're remote, I'm at home and Steve's in his office right now and we're all over. The sharing a Word document is a great way to have that kind of centralized whiteboard. And what we're about to show you now, in a minute. Kate, I'm remembering I have to go back to the PowerPoint and then I'm going to come back in. But I'm going to show you in a moment is how you all essentially can have your own Zoom whiteboard marker equivalent for this document that I just made. So in a moment, I'm going to invite you, once I show you how to do the annotation feature, to mark up this document that I've been typing. And this is my document. I'm typing in real time right here. So I'm going to change my screen share option. Back to the PowerPoint. Thanks for your patience with me. Again, this is real time, vulnerable, you get everything that we're doing. So this is the annotate feature, and this is really kind of fun. And you'll have to be mindful about if this is going to work for the students in your classroom or the adults that you work with. You do have the opportunity to toggle this on or off if you don't want people to be able to use it.
Hey, Jessie,
yeah.
Right now, I'm still seeing the Word document.
Me too.
Oh,
It might
thank
be
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
How's that?
Still see the Word doc. Yep, there you go.
Good? We
Yeah.
good?
Yay.
Thanks, everybody. So, Kate, can you talk us through what we're looking at here?
100%. So you're looking at a screenshot of somebody's computer. At the very top, there's a green bar with a little gray end that says View Options. And Jesse, if you advance, that'll circle, I think. And that bar at the very top is all you're going to see, just that green and that gray. So if you take your cursor right now and move it to the top of your screen, that green bar, if you can't see it right now, it'll fall down and you'll be able to see it. Can I get a thumbs up or a nod from you if you're okay and ready to move on? All right, awesome, thank you. If you click that View Options button, the drop down is going to show up for you. And you want to click, Jesse, an arrow will show up, thanks. You want to click the Annotate option. And what that's going to do is, Jesse, I think the next slide will give us a little circle around the new bar that shows up. That'll give you a whole bar for annotation. And it's really kind of a neat bar because it lets you do all kinds of things from just have a cursor that other people can see on your screen to putting a text box in. You'll see some shapes that you can create, different colors and sizes of pen, just like if you were in like a paint document on your computer. Also, there's something called stamps, which are basically like little stickers. If you click on it, it has different shapes. You click on one and you can start placing them all around. So if you'd like to troll any of your friends, this is a great way to do it. They're just nicely typing on their document and you can put hearts and stars all around everything they've got. So while we're waiting for Jesse to kind of come back and
here I am, I'm back. Are you ready for the Word document?
Yay. We are.
Okay, great.
So I think many folks have found the annotate bar. If you're still having trouble with that, you can chat me and I can kind of walk you through finding it again. But one other thing that you'll notice is happening right now, you have the option to turn on a feature that lets you see who is doing each mark. So like if I'm in a meeting with the faith formation team and Deacon Steve has that on and I put hearts on the document, everybody's gonna know that it was me who did that. And that might be just perfect for what you need in a faith formation class. Because then, everybody can see how they're reacting. You can really build community, but also it might deter somebody who is just being silly or being silly outside of the time to be silly.
Good. It looks like they got the hang of it.
I think they're amazing at this.
Which is great.
You guys rock.
That's great. And I appreciate y'all's flexibility as my family's in bedtime routine mode right now. So thank you for that. Any questions on annotate before we move on to the next feature here? It's okay. Well, I'm going to do the thing where I delete all of this stuff. I appreciate you all being so engaged. That was That is A++ for everybody. Okay, wonderful. Thanks, everybody.
You can explore too that drop down tab. It gives you a lot of options. It lets you delete just some things, everything. Just play around with it. You can't break the annotate tab, and you can't make it go away forever. So.
Yep.
Great. And so now we get to go over the piece of content that, there's Eliza, good night, Eliza. The piece of content that everybody said they weren't sure how to do. So Mary gets to be our teacher now with a little bit about Google Meet for screen sharing, which is also something you can do in Zoom, but Google makes it pretty efficient too. So Mary's going to show us the way on that.
Well, hello, everyone. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Google Zoom, only because there are some differences between Google and Zoom. The Google Meet is the one that has, I want to talk about tonight. A little bit of, just one option on it is the screen share. And we saw what you can do with the Zoom screen share. So I'm going to show you the Google Meet screen share. And I'm going to play a little video for you and hope that I think it's fairly clear because it's pretty big font, even fonts that I can see with my glasses off. So we'll give that a shot. And then let's see. Let me know if you cannot hear.
In this video, we will cover how to share your screen during a Google Meet. First, for the best results, make sure you're on Google Chrome. If you're unsure how to download Google Chrome, refer to our knowledge base article, which is linked in the description below. Once you're on Google Chrome, navigate to this screen. You can get to this screen by joining the meeting. If you have any questions on how to do this, please refer to our other video, How to Join a Meeting with Google Meet. First, we will show you how to share your screen while also sharing your audio. Once you are at the screen, click Join Now to join the call. Once you have joined the call, simply click Present Now in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. From here, you can select your entire screen or a window, just like before. An additional dialog box will appear for either option you have selected. If you have clicked a window, simply select which window you would like to share and then click Share. If you have selected your entire screen, select the single window given and then click Share. Now you will begin sharing your screen. From here, you will be able to see on the call that you are presenting your screen. To stop sharing your screen is the same way as before. Just click Stop Sharing. From here, you can either present your screen again, stay in the call, or leave the call. Next, we will show you how to share your screen without sharing your audio. Once you are to this screen, click Present. If you click Present, you will be prompted with a dialog box. You can either share your entire screen or a given window. Once you have your desired option, click Share. Now you will begin sharing your screen. A small dialog box should appear in the center at the bottom of your screen, indicating that you are now presenting some form of your screen in the call. This dialog box can be moved anywhere on the screen so it can be out of your way. To stop presenting, click Stop Sharing on the small dialog box. From here, you will be returned to the Chrome tab that has your call open, and if you so wish to, you could begin presenting your screen again, stay in the call, or leave the call. Now you should have everything you need to know to present your screen in a Google Meet. If you have any additional questions, please contact ITS.
Okay, so I have to tell you, during the little screen share, I got a text or a chat from Jesse saying, can I drag my toolbar up? I didn't know how to do that, to be honest, so maybe somebody can give me a quick tutorial on that before we go a little further. Jesse, can you tell me how to do that in case somebody else needs it?
I think we will only need it if we're sharing screen, so that's something that I can get you at the end of this session, I think.
Thanks. I didn't want to to forget that question.
No problem.
So-
And it didn't really hinder too much, but if you notice the little gray box on Mary's screen share at one point, it was just the shadow of her behind the scenes facilitation menu. And you do have the ability, you just have to hover in just the right spot, and then you get a little 4-arrow icon that you can click and drag.
Okay, so the difference between Google Meet and Zoom is pretty small between their screen sharing, except that there is no whiteboard in Google Meet. There are apps you can use to screen share and use a whiteboard while you're using Google Meet if you'd like, but there is not one in the Google Meet specifically. There are some other options that Zoom has that we're going to talk about later, but Google Meet does not have. But I did want to show you that one because that seems to be an important one when you're teaching a class. So there's some little minor things. When you're up in the corner, you can see yourself up in the corner when you're doing a screen share, and you can click on that so you can get rid of that and see the presentation on your own screen. Because when you do a screen share in Google Meet, you don't see the screen that you're sharing unless you get rid of that little block of yourself, that little picture of yourself there. You only see a little block that says you are sharing your screen. And then when you're done, you have to go down and click off like they said. And we touched on this last night in the video, but I wanted to do it on a separate video tonight so you can see it a little more clearly, okay? So are there any questions about the Google Meet screen sharing? Oh, pretty simple one. Okay, I think I'm going to Kate, am I right? Or Jill, Kate, yeah, Kate and Jillian? All right, thanks you guys.
Both of us together. So I'm a huge context person. And if you're just trying to orient yourself again, we've been in this for 40 minutes. Where am I? We talked a little bit about features of Zoom, talked a little bit about features of Google Meet. And now we wanted to spend some time on the features in social media, and in particular lives, because that most closely correlates to the other two things that we've been talking about. But a lot of times people have the question, like, if I have Zoom, if I have Google Meet, why should I care about social media? I'm going to give you some stats that I hope change your mind today, but you're going to have to work for them. So Jesse, could you share that PowerPoint for us? What you're going to see coming up will be 5 statements, but the numbers on the statements about social media are blank. Your answer options are in the blue, and I'm going to ask you to actually commit. If you want to type in the chat box, you don't have to send it to anybody, but if you want to type your answers in the chat box, go for it. If you have a piece of scrap paper and a pen handy, go for it. But I'd like you to try and match up the answer choices and the questions right now. And I'll give you maybe a minute. Okay, 20 seconds, no pressure. Okay, time. Jesse, I'm going to ask you to hold off showing all the answers at once. I'm going to go through one by one, and then at the end, you'll see a slide with all of them together. So, first fact, 3.5 billion people worldwide use social media every day. That's worldwide. So I don't care where you are. If you're in the middle of Africa and if you're in the middle of India, you're in the middle of the United States, all those people were counted. 3.5 billion people every day. That's 45% of the world's population. So why is that important? When we evangelize, we go to where the people are every time. If you think about the Jesuits, they always went to places where there were people who hadn't heard about Jesus before. You hear about, I don't know, even street preachers, right? They go to the street. Why? Because there are people there. So we go where the people are. And there are a ton of people on social media. I've heard ministers say to me, you know what, it's kind of hard to get people to come sometimes. Well, the people are already here. So if we can be on social media and be a presence on social media in a way that's engaging and culturally relevant, then we can really make a big difference. The average social media consumer is on social networks and messaging for an average of, raise your hand if you guess, 3 hours per day. Yeah? Oh, you guys are good. So 3 hours every day is the average. So out of those 3.5 billion people, they're spending about 3 hours per day. That's a lot of billions of hours on social media. The next one, Gen Z. What percent of Gen Z owns a smartphone and uses it more than 5 hours per day? 95%. I can't even get my mind around that, but that's a lot. That's a lot of people and a lot of hours. But lest we think that it's just the Gen Zers or just the people who are under 20 who are on social media, 68%, this is number 4, 68% of United States adults are on Facebook. So when we think that grandma is not on Facebook, I'm sorry, grandma wants to see the pictures. She is too on Facebook and she wants to be involved. So we have a ton of adults on Facebook, and the younger generations are there for events. They've catered their and kind of curated their social media plate, if you speak. They go to Instagram to follow brands. They go to Facebook for events. They go to TikTok for their videos. They've kind of figured out, like, I'm not just going to one social media platform. I figured out this one's good for this, and I'm going to go over here and then over there. But if you're going to catch a wide swath of folks, Facebook has pretty much millennials and older. Everybody kind of congregates there, but then also you can reach out to the younger generations through the events section. Last one, that leaves us with 48% of baby boomers on social media regularly. So this does not count the people who have a social media account and forget about it for 2 months and then come back. That's not regular. This is the people who are habitually, if not daily, right, but habitually checking in with their social media. And it's not just the young people. It's everybody is on social media, not everyone, but we have a wide swath of people. So how do we engage them effectively? How do we get the word out once we're there, once we have a story or a message we want to share? How do we share that with other people and make sure that they're getting the information? How do we crack the code of the background of Facebook and Instagram? Jillian, she's going to tell us.
Thanks, Kate. So many of you, if you were at our March regional meeting, which seems like years ago, but it was literally our last regional meeting was the week before shutdown happened, which is just unbelievable to think about. But we covered some of the content I'm going to talk about in that regional meeting, but I'm going to apply it in a totally different way. So in March, we talked about kind of the Facebook and Instagram algorithms and how to use those to evangelize in the 21st century. But we were just talking about posts, which Kate is going to talk about in a little bit. But today, I'm going to talk about using Facebook and Instagram lives and how to use those algorithms to boost your lives and to get engagement more than the people that are just on there at that given time. So I always loved it when I was going through college and grad schools, kind of when the new evangelization was getting buzz, and people would talk about it all at the time, but you never talk about how to do it. You know what I mean? How do I evangelize rather than just going up to someone and be like, I think you need to love Jesus, you know, he's a great guy, which maybe works for some people, not dissing that. But I think that how we can use these social media algorithms is really evangelization in the 21st century. So we're going to go on to a slide that here's going to show you what a Facebook Live looks like. Some of these principles do translate onto Instagram as well, because they're owned by the same company, so they have very similar interactions and whatnot. So don't think that we're leaving out the Instagram world. A lot of this does translate. So I'm going to talk to you about 4 things now: likes, shares, comments, and tags. Likes, shares, comments, and tags. And these are rated 1 through 3 from least interactive on the algorithm to most. All right. So at the very least, you want to be generating likes, and at the very most, comments are important. So let me go through them. Number 1, likes. As you can see in the screen, there's an arrow pointing to that little heart love thing. We call these, if you hovered your mouse over those in real life time, either likes or reactions. All right. When someone refers to a like, it's that old thumbs up, you know, and that used to be all that you could do on Facebook. But now if you've been on there lately, right, there's a ton of different reactions. You can love it, you can sad face, you can angry face. My personal favorite lately is the care one, which is my favorite. So what you want to do though in your lives is to generate people liking or reacting to them, because that will boost your video in the Facebook or Instagram world. And it's like, well, what does that mean to boost it? So number 1, that means, do you ever wonder when you go on the social media platforms, like, why does it order these things the way it does? Why is this the top at my feed versus something else? It's because people are reacting to it. They're invested. They're either commenting, sharing, liking, tagging. And so it says, oh, people are invested in this. I want this to appear more on the top of what this person is going to see now. And it also might, if you have ever noticed, if your friend likes something or comments on it, something, it will say, oh, so-and-so liked this or commented on this, even though you had no reaction to it at all. So that's why it's important, because it gets it, 1, higher on people's feeds, and 2, it might get it on people's feeds who never would have saw it in the first place. So how do I generate likes in lives? So whenever we're doing a live, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, and this applies to Zoom and Google Meets as well, which is why we're giving you all these tools and tricks, because we never want to talk at people, right? We have a couple teachers in this room, and I know that every good teacher, right, we're always trying to balance between lecture and interactive methodology and all that stuff. And it's the same thing when we're doing Zooms and Facebook Lives and all this. So one way that you can generate likes during a live is ask people as you're going along. Say you're talking about, let's give an example, scripture, and let's say that you're talking about Peter walking on water, and maybe that moment where he has doubt and he starts to sink, or maybe the moment where he actually gets up out of the boat, and that took a lot of courage, right, and bravery to just listen to Christ and do something that, you know, is against human physics as a fisherman, you know. And you could pause there and say, hey, like if you've ever felt this way. Can I get a like if you ever felt this way? Think about how many times on Zoom tonight we've asked you to like or clap and whatnot, and you've engaged in that way, right? It's a very low and gentle way of asking someone to respond. So you could say, like if you've ever felt this way, and you can do that with so many different instances and scriptures or conversations. Or another just really low threshold way to have someone respond or react is, hey, can I get a like if you understand what I'm saying? Can I get a like if you understand what I'm saying? Or if you love what I'm saying, love it for sure, you know, but can I get a like? And if no one's reacting, it's like, okay, maybe I need to just rephrase that in a little bit different way, or re-ask that question differently. So that's a way that you can generate likes on Facebook and Instagram. Both of those platforms have ways. On Instagram, you'll see hearts. It's just hearts though all the time. Okay, so if you go on there and you're wondering what that looks like. So we've covered likes. Next, shares, number 2. So shares is that lovely little swoopy arrow you see on the very right-hand corner there. And a share, what that does is someone can share this post onto their own page. So if they were watching this video of decision making, oh, I'm going to share this on my page. I think this is really good content. I'm going to share it for all my friends to see. Or someone can share it on somebody else's page, one of their friends' pages. And so either way, when someone does that, again, it bumps it in that Facebook and Instagram algorithm world where it's like, oh, people are really invested in this content. Let's get it out there more and more and more. So for instance, okay, in the live, how can I do this? How can I motivate people to share this? So one thing that you can do, especially if you're running a youth group or a small Christian community or Bible study, and you know who should be there, right? There's an expectation of, hey, log on at this time tonight, whatever. And you notice that not everyone's there, not everybody's commented, and you say, hey, Kate, could you share this on Joe's page? I noticed he's not there and we don't want him to miss this and we want him to be involved. Can you go share this on so-and-so's page? And that's a way, again, a softball. Oh, of course I'll do that. I'll make sure that my friend's involved in this, right? So that's one way to get a share. If you just notice that someone's not there or being responsive, hey, can someone go share this on their page? Another way is this, and I love this, invite your students, your young adults, your adults, to actively practice evangelization. Set this up. Hey, as a practice of evangelization, I want you to share this video, share this live on someone's page after we're done that you think really needs this message tonight, that really needs to hear this scripture, that really needs to hear this topic about anxiety during these times or hope during these times. Share this live on someone's page that you feel really needs this message. And when you share it in your comments, say, I really was thinking about you. I'm praying for you. I'm here for you, right? Let your students, your young adults, your adults, enter into these practices of evangelization and teach them, let them know that this is something that you can do going forward when you see any of your parishes or organizations' lives or any live that really is speaking to them about Christ and who he is, to tell them, hey, that's a way you can evangelize in the 21st century. So enter into that. All right, so we've done likes, shares, and now we'll go on to comments. All right, I always say commenting is king. It's the thing that you can do to get that video, that post more out there in the world than anything. Because as you know, if you're scrolling through your own Instagram or Facebook, oh, that looks cute. I'll like that. That's nice. Oh, I'm belly laughing at that. I'm going to comment on this. This was really good or funny or cute, right? That level of engagement, for yourself is higher. And so Facebook honors that then and wants to put that up at the top. And so does Instagram. So I always love to do this. How can I generate comments? And obviously you want to do it. You want to be as interactive as you can throughout your whole interaction with whoever it is. But two really kind of low threshold ways to do this are I love to bookend my experiences at the beginning and end with comments. I want to make sure when people come in, they feel welcome and received and they can comment and engage right away. And at the end that they feel like this is time well spent and they've been invested and I'm going to comment, I'm a part of this community. I can go forth feeling really refreshed. So what can I do at the beginning? I love to start with what we call in our Catholic, retreaty world, icebreakers, right? Which people love and they hate at the same time. But start with a really nice icebreaker. Can you write in who is your favorite superhero? If you could have one superpower, who would it be? Or if you want to get to something more, relating to scripture or faith, you could say, write down your favorite parable. Or what's the favorite thing that you've ever heard Jesus say or do in the Bible, right? Start with something that people can engage in right away and sink their teeth into. And then let that be the hook into the content of the faith conversation that day. One that I personally love that Father Polinick and myself have done in the past couple of weeks. We've been doing these lives to promote Samuel groups, which is a new ministry in our diocese for young adults. And the question that got the most interaction was, who was your role model? You know, who is your role model? It was beautiful because people not only shared names, but they shared stories from their parents to teachers to priests or sisters. It was beautiful just to see people share those stories. So come in with that low threshold. And again, if they write one word or a paragraph, it's still going to boost you up in that algorithm. So it's just important to get those comments in there. Next is at the end. What could I do at the end? I always love to incorporate prayer, right? We start in prayer usually and we go out in prayer. So could you do a Lectio Divina activity at the end where they write down a word or phrase after you read a scripture that speaks to them? Could you do prayer intentions? You know, before we end in prayer, any intentions that you'd like to write down, you know, for you or for someone else. So write down your prayer intentions that we could all see and pray over together. So that's also an option. So 2 really good ways to generate comments on your lives. So we've done likes, shares, comments, and lastly, tags. And we didn't talk about this in March, so this is brand new content. So tags are, if you've ever been on either Instagram or Facebook, when you write the little @ symbol, it will kind of generate a list of people or pages or places that you already like on Facebook or Instagram. So for instance, you guys can see in the bottom right-hand corner of this picture, right? I typed into that comment bar @ and then Dio. And you can see that it popped up. Okay, I liked, obviously, number 1, Diocese of Erie Faith Formation, right? But you can ask someone to type in a name, type in a place, and this will also get it to be more engaged in the Facebook algorithm world of engagement. So how could I apply this to a live? Well, for instance, when I asked that role model question, I could have said, hey, tag your role model. If they're on Facebook or Instagram, tag them. And so they could have tagged, you know, if someone, for instance, tagged, let's say me, I don't know why they would do that, but let's say they tagged me. And I would get a notification on my end, hey, so-and-so tagged you in this post. And I'd be like, oh, well, I definitely want to know what I was tagged in. Why are they tagging me in this? And I click on it and I'd see that this person was responding to that question by tagging me. And I mean, I don't know about you if anyone's called you a role model, but that's a huge, right? That's a huge honor. And so you, as a person, would probably then, as someone that was tagged, like that post or then comment within that post saying, hey, thanks so much, or or even just watch it as someone who would have never came across that post ever in the first place. So those are ways to get other people involved, again, bringing them into the fold of our faith-filled community. Another way that I love to do this, say it's, you know, high schoolers who love food, right? I mean, we all love food, let's be real, but they just have a special affinity for it. So maybe your sole question at the beginning is, hey, tag your favorite restaurant in this. And now I love that. That's good data, right? To know as a youth minister, oh, I need to buy some gift cards for these places, you know, going forward. So one, that's good. But as they tag these places, again, they're generating content, and you could then go to those places and say, hey, you know, my youth group kid tagged you in this, and I would love to talk to you about maybe doing, if it was a coffee shop, maybe we can do a function there, or can you donate a gift card or something, right? You can generate relationships too based off of these tags yourself. So again, we went through likes, shares, comments, and tags. And if you have more questions about any of these and how to apply these, I'm here for you whenever. But some good practices to make your lives and your time together with your people as engaging as possible, and then to also evangelize more people into the faith. So I'm going to give it back to Kate, and she's going to talk about how we can do that most effectively with posts. So our pictures and our text posts on these social media accounts.
Thanks, Jillian. Before I talk about that too much, the big idea for any part of social media is that community. That's why if you talk to a Facebook guru or an Instagram person who's professionally employed there, all these different changes in algorithms that make it harder for businesses to just spam people, and they're like, oh my gosh, my organic reach is all gone, all this other kind of stuff. It's because They're trying to build a community. They know that people are going to leave their platform if they don't build this relationship aspect. So everything we're doing, those likes, comments, tags, they're about building a relationship. And that's how they trigger the algorithms. And the gurus at Facebook and Instagram keep changing the algorithm because the way we respond, or the way that people are responding on social media, is changing a little bit too. Not drastically, like likes have always popped things up, right? But as they add new features, that engagement level from us and the community level from everyone using the platform changes a little bit. Let me give you an example. I want you to think about a Christmas Eve night that particularly stands out in your own mind. And now think of a Christmas Eve night that had particularly standoutish weather. Unmute yourself and share that Christmas that you're thinking about.
"1983, the first Christmas we were married, and we got snowed in, and Vicki and I were the only ones that were able to make it to our families, even though we had a small car, and people thought we were nuts. So it's a very memorable Christmas. And we were expecting."
Man. For folks who lived in Erie bounds, a couple of years ago, we had the 5 feet on Christmas Eve.
2017.
There
Driving
you
in
go.
from Ohio with a less than 1 month old or 1 month old baby, you know, trying to beat out the snowstorm to get to the house.
Anybody else?
I just had the same Christmas Eve as Steve, 1983, when we had terrible blizzard, and I was driving on the highway and they were closing all the exits right behind me as I was driving east from Cleveland.
I think nighttime makes us quiet, but I'll give you a pass this time, y'all. Thanks, team, for stepping in. It was not a plant, and it happened naturally this morning, but I want you to notice that when I asked a simple question, which Christmas was it? It always came with a story. Every single one of them. Oh, that was the Christmas we drove in a tiny car my wife was expecting and everybody didn't think we could get there. Oh, that was the Christmas that the interstate was closed. Oh, that was the Christmas that, you know, my daughter was a month old and we're trying to drive in from Cleveland. We all have all of the information in our heads, or most of it, is connected to a story. And it's been that way through history. We're not new that way. If you think about the cavemen, they didn't say 400-pound buffalo done. They had pictures of people hunting buffalo. They told the story of the hunt. So as we interact with each other, online isn't just a bulletin board that we can tack things to and let people know about. And it's not just a video that we post with information. It's not a movie. It's a way that we interact and tell the story. And so as you think about your posts, thanks so much, Jessie. As you think about your posts, you really want to focus on 3 things. The first thing makes your post good, second makes it better, and the third makes it best. A good post has a good message. You've got to know your people. I've got to know my people and know what the Lord needs to tell them. I'm going to figure that out in prayer. I'm going to figure that out by being in relationship with my people. The thing that makes it better is to take that message and share it in the form of a story. So if I just tell you Jesus loves you, that's a nice message, but it may not move my heart to understand that. I may get it in my head, but this is a long 12-inch journey, and the story helps make that journey happen. If I want to make it even better, I want to have my story and message, but with some sort of a personal connection. Here's an example. You all thought about your own crazy Christmas Eves. there was one Christmas Eve, this gentleman, it was a while ago, so agricultural kind of time, early 1900s. His family went to church that Christmas Eve night, but he wasn't really into the whole going to church thing. So he decided he was staying at home. And the wind started picking up just like those crazy storm times, and the snow started flying, and he heard thunk against the window. You know that thunk you hear in the springtime? It was a bird. He was like, oh my, and all of a sudden just this tenderness moved his heart, which kind of surprised him because he worked around animals all the time, and it just, you know, animals are animals. And he saw this bird struggling outside, and he thought, well, it's gonna die. So I'm gonna try and shoo it inside. But every time he tried to shoo the bird would fly up in a tree, or it would get down on the ground and go away from him because it was scared. And he realized he cannot communicate with this bird because the bird was scared of him and it didn't understand him. And all of a sudden, that was like a lightning moment for the man. And he realized that not only could the bird not understand him and didn't understand he was trying to save the bird, but that sometimes human beings cannot understand what God is trying to do, and they can run away from him when he's trying to help them out. And so that's why 2,000 years ago, there was a little baby Jesus who could speak the language of humanity and tell us what God was trying to do to save us so we could follow the directions. And here's the best part. So that man, after realizing that, kind of changed things around. His perspective on faith and religion really changed. And it started a new path for him. He really led his family in faith. And now 3 generations later, I call that man Grandpa. And our family has really been impacted by his own example. Okay, now, did you notice what happened to you through that story? I just want to break it down for you. Jesse, can you take the next slide? It was good enough that I have a message that God wants to save us. Like, he became like us to save us. That's what we tell people every Christmas. But what made it better? There was a story that we could kind of relate to, and that kind of took us an extra step. And it kind of hit the heart a little bit. What made it even better? When I gave you a personal connection, that was my grandpa. Now, I need to be honest, it wasn't actually my grandpa. I made that part up for the sake of tonight. But I did want you to know, or to experience, what happens when you have a message in the form of a story with a personal connection. Sometimes that story is a picture. Somebody posts a picture of something they did and said, you know, where am I at? That generates comments. And also people are thinking, like, where are you at? Why is that important? And that's when you can start that conversation. So as you engage on social media, whether you're live or whether you have just a regular post, think about your story form. Are you telling the story of a real person? And I know that's kind of crazy that I challenge you to do that now after telling you my grandpa wasn't real, right? But there are lots of real people. And you can check out, I mean, really, we try and model this in the Faith Formation office. If you check out our Facebook page, there are stories of people who are experiencing the influence of God in their life over and over again. And they're different. Some resonate with people, some don't so much. And we learn and try and adjust so that we can really reach as many people as we want. But always, we're trying to post message, and even better in the form of a story, with contacts that people may already know. So thanks for hanging with us in that. And I really appreciate your faces. So thank you for keeping your videos on. I know it's late. You're amazing people. I'm going to bump it back to Mary for, is that right? I'm bumping it to Mary, I think it's right, for child protection.
Yes.
Awesome.
I just want, thanks, Kate. I just want to remind you, we talked about child protection last night, and I think everybody who's on, almost everybody who's on tonight was on yesterday. So just remind you that parents need to know if you're going to be doing any kind of social media with their children. You have to have the permission of the parents and your pastor to engage in any kind of social media with youth in our diocese. So if you are going to be doing a Facebook live and having them on the Facebook Live answering or commenting and things like that, you have to have that permission from your pastor before you do that, and from the parents before you do it. So please make sure that you do everything before you actually get on there with them, okay? You can't text or kids individually. You need to group text with them. If you have to have a conversation with a youth that is personal and you want to text them, hey, I want to meet with you at this time or this place, you need to make sure you copy their parents on it, or one of the other catechists. You have to make sure that you're not doing anything individually that could be misconstrued, so that for your protection again, and for the protection of the children. And then just a reminder also, if you want to post any pictures on social media, usually you have a picture permission slip when you sign kids up for faith formation or for youth group or whatever you're doing with them. And so make sure you have all those permissions in line and ready and on file before you start doing things with these kids. If you have more questions about child protection, I know we go over this frequently, but we want to make sure everybody's safe. So just keep letting us know if you have any questions, or contacting Cindy Zemchek from the Office for the Protection of Children and Youth, and she'll answer any questions you have. If there's any specific questions you have tonight, you can either ask me or you can send me a chat. Okay? And with that, I'm going to scoot you back to Steve.
Yes, thanks, Mary. So we're going to talk about another exciting tool on Zoom, and it's called Breakout Rooms. And this is really helpful for the faith formation leaders, especially if you want to start a class like with everybody together and then send off catechists with students in breakout rooms. So the option of breakout rooms is, again, the host. So if the DRE is the one that owns the license for your Zoom, they can create breakout rooms. You can pre-assign breakout rooms when you create your meeting if you have the email address of your attendees, or you can do it during the meeting. So for instance, during this meeting, we had somebody working behind the scenes to create breakout rooms for us, because we're going to experience what a breakout room is. We're going to watch a short little video, 2 minutes long, from Zoom that shows you how to create breakout rooms. Very, very simple, very easy to use. But so Jillian's going to share that, and then we're going to experience an actual breakout room. So Jillian?
Hey everyone, Farah from Zoom here. On this brief video, we're going to show you how you can leverage our breakout room feature to take a large meeting or virtual classroom and split it up into smaller groups or sessions. You'll see that I have already enabled the breakout room feature, which you can find in your settings along the bottom. And that breakout room button will actually be right here. This is a button that only your hosts or co-hosts will be able to see. And right now we don't have a co-host in the session. If I manage my participants, I can hover over Catherine, for example, to make her a co-host. So she'll see this button now as well. When we're ready to split the group into smaller sessions, I can easily click this button to get a pop-up window asking me how many rooms I'd like to assign out and how many participants per room. For this example, it's recommending, since there are 6 people, we can split it up into 2 rooms. I can do this automatically or manually. So if we click on the automatic button, it'll generate those breakout rooms for us. Certainly if there's anyone I want to swap out, maybe I want to move Michael to the other room, I can exchange him for a different participant. Once I'm ready to open all rooms, I'll click this Open All Rooms button, and our participants will be able to join the sessions that we've created for them. So we'll slowly see those people join. One thing that's really important to note is that as a host or a co-host, you can actually hop between the different rooms to talk to the participants. You can see here I have the join button. Now everybody's left to go to the rooms. I can broadcast a message to everybody and say, wrapping up in 1 minute. And this will broadcast the message. And then I can close the rooms, which gives them a 1-minute timer to rejoin our session. We'll give everybody a second to rejoin, and I'll show you 1 or 2 additional features with breakout rooms. There we go. We can kind of see everybody kind of popping back in. Now everybody's rejoined the main session. You'll see that I have the opportunity to reopen these rooms again, which is really great. If you have a very long session or a very long virtual class, you can split into these virtual smaller groups as often as you'd like. And the additional options here will allow you to automatically close breakout rooms after a specified amount of time. You can also change the countdown timer to be 30 seconds or 2 minutes if you like. I'll show you a setting where you can also pre-assign folks to be in your breakout room before the classroom starts. You'll want to navigate over to the class that's already been created in your Zoom portal. Under the Meetings tab, you can find your meeting. Scrolling all the way to the bottom, you'll see if we open this to re-edit it, I have the opportunity to pre-assign a breakout room here, and I can create the rooms and upload a CSV with all of my participants in advance so that their names are already populated in the room when I start the session. That's basically how you can run breakout rooms. We hope you found this video helpful. If you have any additional questions, please visit us at support.zoom.us.
Thank you, Jillian. So again, Sue, the ease of breakout rooms is there, and it's really, it's just a nice way where you can present some large content and then have breakout rooms and sharing among the classrooms in your breakout rooms. So we're going to experience that in 1 second, and you will automatically be taken to a breakout room. You don't have to do anything, you'll just arrive there. And we're going to answer 2 questions in our breakout rooms, and you'll have a facilitator in your breakout room. The questions are, what's your greatest takeaway from this evening's session, and what lingering questions you have. So Kate's going to abracadabra poof us into our breakout rooms. So hello, we're in the breakout room with Karen and Sister Ricarda and Mary Hicken.
Hello, everyone. You can unmute yourselves for this part.
You can unmute yourself so we can hear.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
And so we'll have a minute or 2 in this room, and then automatically, as we saw in the video, there will be there's a timer to this countdown, so we'll automatically be taken to the large group. So we might still be talking when that happens because we don't have any control. It's the host who controls that. So what's your greatest takeaway from this evening?
I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit. It's interesting. I don't think it'll be too hard. Just something new for me.
Good.
Did you find some features you liked? You think you'd like to use, Karen?
Yes, and you know, I don't do a lot of social media. I don't do any social media, so it's kind of encouraging me to check that out a little bit more also.
Good.
Good. Great. Sister Ricarda, any takeaways?
I think she's still muted.
Yeah, she's still muted, so.
Any lingering questions, Karen?
No, I'm just getting tired, so it's
Yeah.
you know, it's been a long day.
It's a long day.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, I'll have to review it maybe on the weekend a little bit. And
It's been a long day for sure. Tomorrow I'll have to redo the poll of, so how tired are you?
yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to come though for both sessions.
It's very good. It's you know, shows us a little bit of, you know, I had no idea what we could do. And these breakout rooms are pretty neat.
Yeah, some of the leaders were saying that that's how they're going to kind of run their classes. Start in a large, like with everybody together, and then catechists and students from a certain grade go into one breakout room. And so that's how they're going to kind of manage the Zoom license and the different catechists and stuff. And the nice thing is the DRE would be able to hop from room to room to room to kind of check in to see how people are doing. So that's one of the nice features as well.
Yeah,
I think they thought that they were going to be able to share that license, but
you can't do you can't do more than one meeting at a time. So this will be a nice cost savings if you can do breakout rooms and notes off of one meeting. That will be
Yeah.
very helpful.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how much parishes and things had to invest in technology during this pandemic, just like for the live streaming that they had to do, and from the various, you know, even now, like a lot of the faith formation programs are doing virtual things. You know, some of them aren't coming in person at all. So it'll be interesting.
We are going to meet in person the first Sunday, and then the second one we do at home. Then the third one will be Zoom, and then the fourth one at home. So I think if we get this up and going and we can't meet again,
Yeah.
then we could possibly do the Zoom twice a month.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Karen, I can't remember which parish are you from?
St. Joseph in Oil City.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Have you been a catechist there for long? A witness? Sorry, witness.
Yeah, we do witness. 3 years. This will be my 4th year.
Good.
So I do the First Communion class this year. Last year I had reconciliation. It'll be interesting, a little bit of change.
One of my grandsons is doing first reconciliation this year.
They grow fast, don't they?
Yes, this will be the 3rd one doing first reconciliation. Last year, Landon did his first Holy Communion, and 2 years ago, Brady did his first Holy Communion. So, you know, just keep going down the line.
I have twin grandsons that'll make their first communion this year.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. I was able to assist at the Mass and preach for both of my grandsons' first Holy Communion so far. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So you see that we're now going to, this is what will come up when you get your warning that the breakout rooms will end in, she kept the 1 minute time limit. So we have 44 seconds, it'll count down. And again, this morning we were still talking and we just left it. That's how it happened. You then just end up back into the big room. So, which is, this is a nice feature. You don't have those, you know, when you have in-person small groups, you have always that group that kind of takes extra time and they're still talking and you never come back to the big group. This kind of takes that away, which is nice.
They don't have a choice.
That's
you
right.
can see Breakout Room 1, they all left already. So you can even see who's gone. So, all right, I'm going back to the main room.
Yep, in 6 seconds. So welcome back, everybody, to the large room. I was just saying that this is a nice feature for, you know, those lingers who like it when you're in a small group in person and you have that one group that never wants to come back to the big group and they just kind of linger and keep talking. This option just takes that right away and you all have to come back. So there's a time limit. So it's nice. So just give an opportunity for a minute or so to anybody want to share anything that they talked about in terms of their greatest takeaway or lingering question they may have. Okay, I'm very mindful of time. And as I promised, you're going to experience another poll. So I'm going to launch our post-assessment poll that you'll be able to take. So there you go. Have the opportunity to take that. And as you're taking that, maybe Jesse could do some closing announcements.
Sure thing. So, so this is very multitasking friendly right now, but if you need to just focus on the poll, that's okay, because I'm going to put up a slide in a minute. We will be emailing out notes from this session and all the resources. So folks in my group were asking, oh man, we got those good links in the chat. How do I not lose those? You could copy and paste your chat and save it, or you could wait until the resources are emailed to you. This video recording will be live on our website in about a week. So if you have catechists or other leaders in your parish that you think would really benefit from this content, please do share that with them when that goes live. We'll let you know when that's available. The other thing that's fun about this is, so we really appreciate your participation in these 101 and 201 sessions about the technology features themselves. But that was never really the ultimate purpose of this. Like we said, the ultimate purpose of this is to figure out how to do ministry in the pandemic and beyond. So next week starts the really fun stuff. So now that we have a comfortability basically with the technology, next week are the 4 application sessions where we're going to talk about how do we apply these in terms of best practices for ministering in high impact ways to folks of different age groups. So there will be a session on ministering to 6 to 12-year-olds, 13 to 18-year-olds, 19 to 35-year-old young adults, and also adult faith formation. All of those are listed on our website. If you RSVP'd for this, you've got the links for all of those from Mary. Similarly, so if you know of folks that could benefit from that, please at this point, just share the links with them. We want to have them. We want to make sure that content reaches as many leaders, catechists, RCIA instructors, as many folks as we can to really help folks feel supported during this time. So those are all my announcements for today. And look at this fun poll results. Gosh, thank you, everyone. We're so grateful for your willingness to learn and to learn alongside us, and to share about that with us. So thank you for taking the poll.
Thank you, Jesse. And just as we end, we'll end in prayer as we begin. So we begin and end in prayer. So just again, just do your last yawn right now to bring yourself fully here and stretch out that sore bum, because I'm sure it's wanting to stand up and whatever. So just to take a deep breath and be here as we close. So loving God, we thank you for the time together, the time that we can build community, even though we are not physically in the same location. We are of one heart, one spirit, and one mind. And we want to do your work, Lord, and we ask for your guidance as we do that. Bless each one of our leaders, our ministers, our students, our catechists, our pastors, our whole diocese. Help us to really see how we can be evangelizers, how we can spread your word among all people. So blessings upon blessings upon everybody, safe travels if they have to drive home, or wonderful night's rest as they go to bed. So we just ask your blessing upon them, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you. And again, you know, always it's who's going to wave the most as you're leaving a meeting. Bye, friends.